Hey everyone, how are you? Happy Thursday. Hope that you're doing well. A beautiful Thursday out where I live, and I hope the same for you. I hope that you and your families are well. Hope that you're having a good day. And I'm just grateful, I'm grateful that we get to have another day together to be able to talk about data science and keep on creating our community, keep on living within our community, and just try to keep on helping each other out, keep on helping each other's learning and growth in data science. So, really grateful for that. Really grateful that it's sunny out, that my dog's healthy, that I'm healthy. So feeling really good all around, feeling really positive all around. For those of you that are new, because I see a couple of new people already, please let me know your city, state, province, country. We always ask people to introduce themselves. I call it my global roll call. That way everybody can introduce themselves. It's a really easy way for you to participate. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to be some amazing data scientist to participate in my chats. But let us know where you're from, and then I'm happy to answer your questions after that. I don't have a set agenda for today, so I'm here for your questions. I love walking in here with no agenda because you guys as a chat, as a collective chat, always bring interesting questions. So, we'll see where we end up. We'll see where the chat takes us, right? So I'm already seeing people coming in, so thank you so much. Again, please let me know your city, state, country, province, and we'll go from there. So I also get to do, while I wait for you guys to fill up my chat, I also like to do an opening note where I try to share some thoughts to kind of, maybe set the tone for the live stream, or just give you different things to think about. And I did a little bit on this topic last week, but I feel like just touching upon it just a little bit more, because there's just so much negativity when it comes to the job searching, the approaches out there. And I bring this up because yesterday I was doing some of my weekly replies to video replies to some of the questions I get. And I got some really good questions this week. Some are not so great, so I didn't really, answer them. But other questions, particularly there were questions around the interview process and why am I not passing interviews and things like that. And, it's really kind of disappointing when I get so much, when I suggest somebody take a new approach, a new tact, and they are always resistant to that. And it makes no sense for me for somebody to just keep on following the same path, keep on doing the same things. They insist on doing the same things, but then they're expecting a different result, Or I know there's people out there who say, oh, well, I've sent out 200 applications, 300 applications. You hear these incredible numbers. Well, maybe it's time for a new approach. Maybe it's time for new thinking. Maybe it's time for you to say, hey, you know what? Maybe the problem's not the jobs. Maybe the problem is here, right? At some point, you have to have the self-awareness to say, hey, what I'm doing is not working. Let me take a new approach, right? Let me reevaluate what I'm doing. Okay? I'm already seeing somebody say, I don't think you're cocky. I appreciate that, Blitzkrieg Bill. I appreciate that. Yes, that's another one of the video replies I did yesterday. Actually, I did that this morning, actually. But that was a fun one to do. But, at some point, you have to sit back and say, well, wait a minute. Where am I going wrong, right? You have to bear some of that personal responsibility at some point, right? And say, okay, where am I going wrong? And then if I'm going to seek that help, I have to be open to that help. I can't just blindly say, oh, no, 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 that can't be it. That can't be it. It's something else. It's the other people. It's this, it's that. It's blah, 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 blah. It can't be me. It can't be the approach I'm doing. Right? At some point, you have to say, hey, you know what? The responsibility lies with me. Right? So I want you guys to think about that, because I do hear a lot of resistance and a lot of pushback. So one, why are you unwilling to change when the numbers say that maybe something's wrong? And two, if you're going to reach out for help but not willing to take that help, then why start at all, right? So something to think about. Something to think about. All right, wow, you guys are filling up my chat already. So guys, as I mentioned before, please introduce yourself with city, state, country, province. We ask people to do that. Keep the chat professional. Let us know where you're from. And then, I'm happy to answer your questions and whatnot, okay? So please, let us know where you're from. Lots of new faces in the chat, so thank you so much for that. Excuse me. So starting from the top, Sarat, let us know where you're from. Abdul, let us know where you're from. Joseph, our good friend Joseph says, morning, Dennis and everyone. Happy pre-Friday. Yes, happy pre-Friday indeed, Joseph. I hope you're well out there in Tennessee. I don't think the storms from last night affected you, so hope you're doing well out there. Harris, our new friend Harris from Pakistan. Harris, good to see you again. I get so encouraged when people come back. I get so encouraged when people come back and say, hey, I want to watch this stream again. So thanks so much, Harris. Really appreciate you coming back. Hope you're doing well. Osama, you are our first person from Morocco today. You beat Fatima today. Hello, sir. Hope everything is doing well. Yeah, everything is going really well, Osama. I have fun with those video replies. I did some yesterday by the pool. But yeah, I did them by the pool yesterday, and today I did them in my home. But yeah, it's been a good morning. I got like 4 or 5 replies out yesterday. I did 2 more this morning. Telling you guys, this content creation stuff, it's not easy. Not easy, guys. So much to do. Rex says, hi everyone, this is Rex in New York City. Good to see you, Rex. Such a my loyal friend Rex. Really appreciate you being here, Rex. Confused Angel is from Mumbai, India. Nice, welcome. I think it's your first time. So hope you're doing well. You're welcome to sit back and listen, or if you want to share, there's a question I can help you with, please let me know. That's what the chat is, right? I'm just here to help today. There's no set agenda, so if you have a question or something, let me know. Yassine, my good friend from Tangier, Morocco. Hope you're doing well, Yassine. Yassine, right now I'm swimming in a pool, where I live. But if I was in Tangier, I'd be swimming in the ocean every single day. It's a beautiful ocean out there. So hope you're doing well. Borhanadine? We ask people to introduce themselves, so let us know where you're from, please. Fatima, our good friend Fatima from Meekness says, hey sir, hey Fatima, hope you're doing well. Hope your studies are doing well. So Fatima, let me ask you a question, because I know you're in college. Do you have classes every single day? When I was in college, I went to a school. I went to a college in Washington, D.C. So it's very popular to have an internship there. You get an internship with somebody in the legislature or at a law firm or things like that. So the school recognized this. And the school would intentionally not schedule classes on Fridays. There were no classes on Fridays. Because, they assumed that students would work, right? So you kind of needed the time to work or, have an internship. So I'm curious if that's the same thing in Morocco or what is the case, Fatima. So let us know if you go to school every day, okay? Denelson, our new friend Denelson from LA. Hope you're doing well, Denelson. Glad to see you back. I love seeing people come back, so glad to see you back. Hope you're doing well. I know it's early for us on the West Coast, so really glad to see you here. Blitzkrieg, we ask people to let us know where they're from. Let us know your city, state, province, country, all that stuff, please. But Blitzkrieg does right. I don't think you're cocky. He's referring to one of the comments I received overnight, which I loved. I love getting those types of comments. I do not want to be average. So, you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs, guys, right? I mean, not everybody's going to be happy along the way. So I appreciate that feedback, Bill. But like I said, when I see comments like that, I'm encouraged. I tell myself, keep going. You're on the right track. PD, we ask people to introduce themselves. Please let us know where you're from, okay? Mafood, our good friend Mafood is back. Mafood says, hello everyone. Hey Mafood, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Leo, checking in from Morocco, New York City. Or is it, no, from Nigeria, New York City. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Leo. Hope you're doing well out there in Nigeria. I hear it's beautiful weather out there this time of year. So let us know how you're doing. Rahul, another person from Nigeria. Rahul, how are you? He's from the other Nigeria. He's from the province of Nigeria. So thanks so much for being here, Rahul. Hope you're doing well. Mafood says, I stopped applying to job boards. A cold application is a dead application. I think you need to talk to people and they guide you or introduce you to someone. Yeah, Mafood. Yeah, I think that there's, obviously different approaches besides job application boards, right? But, you're describing more of a networking approach, which is great, right? But, again, the bigger takeaway is that you're willing to try something new, right? You're willing to change your approach. You're willing to say, hey, maybe this isn't the best way. Let me try something else. And that's great. I love that. A lot of people don't seem to get there, though, and that's disturbing, It's also disturbing that the person would do that, but still be seeking a data science role or like a scientific role. Like, that's not a person that should be in science, right? In any science. So good for you, Mafood, for trying something else. Rahul says, hello, Mr. Hanson. Well, hello to you too. I'm getting a lot of sun recently. Do I look a little darker to you guys? I think maybe I'm getting a little too much sun. But I'm out there by the pool. I'm doing swimming. I'm working on my breaststroke. So yeah, I think I'm getting a little bit of sun. Leo says, I spent my whole morning on trying K nearest neighbor's imputer for missing values in a data set and got 79%. I'm calling my psychiatrist to ask what am I doing wrong. Oh, that's hilarious. What's wrong with 79%? Nothing wrong with that. It's a good baseline, right? You can build off that. Nothing wrong with that. So Harris shares that they are from Faisalabad and the province is Punjab in Pakistan. Very cool. Thank you for that. Harris. Appreciate the detail. Mafood says, oh yeah, I heard about the storms. Hope everything's okay. I hope it's far from you. Thank you, Mafood. Yeah, pretty serious storms last night here in the US, guys. I'm very, very far away. I'm in no danger, but we might have other people in the chat that are a little bit closer. I think Joseph is probably the closest. But yeah, if anybody's affected, let us know. So Denelson adds, thinking about the opening note, I think people push back because it can be hard for some to let go of their methods, thinking if they let go of them, their efforts were of little value. Yeah, sure. I completely agree with that, Denelson. I completely agree with that. But is that the scientific mindset? In a way, that's what bothers me the most, right? Like, I hate doing resume reviews and I'll only do career coaching, if somebody asks nicely and pays me. But from a meta view, like is that a scientific mindset, Like, go find your job however you want, right? Like, I don't care. But, like, should somebody who just keeps on doing that over and like, should that person be in science? Right? Like, I don't know. Is that a healthy thing for that person to be in science? Like, are they demonstrating a scientific mindset? Like, I think that's the part that bothers me more, right? Like, if you're unwilling to say, hey, this doesn't work, let me try something else, or, said another way, hey, my hypothesis might not be correct, let me try a new hypothesis, let me try a new test, right? If you're unwilling to do that, your career in data science will be extremely short, right? So, yeah, I think that's the part that bothers me the most. I think your underlying sentiment is correct. But, like, be a scientist about it, Like, show that you're applying some scientific thinking. Because, the other way I think about it, and I expressed this just a little bit, I've mentioned before that one of my hobbies that I've liked in the past is I like playing poker. And poker is a game of mistakes, right? What mistakes your opponents make, what mistakes you make, and who can pay less for their mistakes, right? So I sometimes think of the world and life like that, right? So if I'm a hiring manager and I come across somebody like this, and by the way, this will come across in their interviews and in their interactions with me, right? Am I, the hiring manager, am I making a mistake by not hiring you? No, right? See, that's to me where the conversation gets scary, right? Like, if I'm looking for a job, I want to walk in there so strong that they're going to feel like they made a mistake not hiring me. Right? Because if you can't make that impression, then they haven't made a mistake by hiring you, right? They can walk away from you and say, Dennis was just another candidate. That's not great, right? You haven't won, right? So that's why I think about that, Denelson, that okay, yeah, you can go find your job however you want. It's your job search, but like, the employers aren't making a mistake. Don't put it on them. Right? The hiring managers are right to not hire you. So, I don't know. That's the way I look at it. I realize that that may be an unpopular view, or that some of you may have a different viewpoint. Feel free to put it in the chat. But just ask yourself: Are you making the hiring managers make a mistake by not taking you on? Manoj, our good friend Manoj from Bangalore. How are you, Manoj? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I love the back and forth that's going on in the chat, by the way. I love the community helping each other. Leo says, well, whoever said Dennis is cocky clearly doesn't know him enough. He's a drama king, not cocky. Well, you know what? At least you didn't say drama queen, right? You could have said drama queen, so you chose drama king. I appreciate that, Leo. We've had our moments on the stream. We've had our moments. So Fatima, coming back to the school schedule, yes, it is daily except What? You go to school on Saturday? Seriously? Is that a thing in Morocco? Is that a guys? Tell me, is that a? Or maybe in other countries, is that a thing? Monday through Saturday? Hell no! I'm not doing that. Oh my god! Is that really a thing, guys? Oh. Miss me with that crap. I'm not doing that. Leo says, yes, clear skies and chilling winds already. Love the fall vibes. Okay, cool. Glad you experienced that in New York City. Nikorichi, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, or maybe it's just Nico. Nico says hello from Romania. Hello, Nico. Good to see you. Glad to see that we're getting more viewers on X. So Nico, thank you for the introduction. Anything we can help you with, please let me know. Okay. Excuse me, guys. Fatma, we ask people to introduce themselves, okay? Please let us know your city, state, province. Mafood says, it is hard for when you don't really know if that's how it's supposed to be, applying to a law, or you're doing something wrong. Yeah, you're right, Mafood. There's no clear measure, right? Clear measures like that are hard to come by. But, it's kind of... I think you kind of have to take just like a reasonable approach to it, right? Like, if you start reaching the triple digits, 100, then it's time to take a different tact, right? Like, you would think that after 100, you would at least start getting some significant interviews, right? But yeah, I mean, I guess you don't know, like, what is the, there is no single quantitative measure, right? So I guess that's part of you deciding and saying, okay, well, wait a minute, hold on a second, let's be reasonable about this. But when I hear about people getting to like 200, 300 applications, there's something wrong, right? There's something wrong. So I don't know, if you guys have like a quantitative measure you want to propose, let me know. But I don't know what that number would be, but I would say about like 100 is where I'd be like, okay, let me think about this, right? Like, you gotta kind of stop all efforts at that point. I think you mean to say we unemployed people can't even pay for the next meal. Dennis is cocky. I don't know. I guess I can be cocky about a couple of things, but not everything. Hey, look, everyone worries about their next meal, right? Everyone worries about their finances, right? I mean, even I have to do that, right? Because I'm doing a lot of content creation and it's fun. And I get to meet you guys, but I got bills to pay just like anybody else, right? I'll tell you, I'm going to share something with you guys that I haven't really shared before. But one of the things that I sometimes have to struggle with just a little bit is like the opportunity cost of doing all of this, right? Because speaking of jobs and applications, I think that I can get like a director of AI, a CTO, or director of data science role in a relatively short amount of time, right? Like, if I really called on some contacts, worked my LinkedIn a little bit. So there's an opportunity cost here, right? That I could go off and get a job that, even on the very, very low end, working remote, would be like 250 USD, right? So everybody worries about their finances, Rahul. Everybody worries about their next meal, right? Very few people in the world can afford to not think about their finances. So I think about that, right? Like, there's an opportunity cost to this. Like, do I keep on trying to write books and sell books, or do I just make a few phone calls and sit down with a couple of people and, get a 250 job? 2 months, right? Everybody worries, Rahul. Everybody. Nivas, welcome. Nivas, we ask people to introduce themselves, okay? Let us know your city, state, province, country. Ninad, thanks for joining us. I think it's your first time, so let us know your city, state, province. We ask people to introduce themselves. And by the way, guys, again, speaking of jobs, speaking of interviews, one of the reasons I ask people to do this is how you carry yourself. It's important. How you introduce yourself. How you greet someone, right? It's important in a job. I noticed this as a hiring manager, right? Your manners are important. The way you talk is important, right? So that's why I do that. That's why I ask people to say, hey, let us know where you're from, okay? Ninad says, already introduced. Sorry, Ninad, I don't see it. So Harris says, no, sir, in Pakistan, study days, Monday through Friday, and 2 holidays for college students. 2 day. Okay, and 2 day. Okay, so Monday through Friday, and then Saturday, Sundays are your days off. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Okay, well, see, that's a more reasonable schedule. Going to school on Saturday. Actually, I guess I kind of did that in high school, but that was for like 1 semester. But yeah. I don't know, Fatima. I think you're getting a bad deal over there in Morocco. Leo says, Dennis, what are your thoughts on the Nobel Prize this year for AI advancements to Jeffrey Hinton? Do you know him? What do you think? Great question, Leo. So there's 2 things that to be frankly honest, I don't know their work specifically. So my comments, I'm mostly going to tell you from what I've picked up on X and other things I've read and some things that I've replied to on X. Okay. One of the things I did read was that they are not 100% responsible for neural networks. I think that they are more credited with Boltzmann's machines, which are, certainly related. You could even say like the root of neural networks, but they themselves are not directly, the direct inventors of neural network. So I kind of see that. As a criticism, I mean, right? Because the person who shared this, was kind of sharing as a criticism. Obviously a little salty, right? Because, they still won the Nobel Prize. Good for them, right? Don't want to overlook that. But, there was that argument being made that, well, it wasn't really neural networks. It was actually Boltzmann machines. So, okay, I can see that. But here's the part that really got me. If you guys spent any time on X yesterday, you probably saw a lot of Google people, particularly Google DeepMind people, talking about, oh yeah, I've worked with these guys. They're ex-Google. They're this, they're that. All 3 of the people who won, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Leo, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was 3 of them that won the Nobel Prize. Hey, Ninad, please don't spam my chat. Okay? Ninad, we keep things professional. Please don't do that. So I think it was 3 of them, right, that won the Nobel Prize. All of them for, AI and neural networks related stuff, but it was 3 of them. And there were people on Google saying, oh yeah, they work for Google. He was my supervisor. They're ex-Googlers, blah, 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 blah. If the Google had all that brain power, why is Google so far behind in AI? Like, we've had this conversation before on chat, and you're welcome to disagree with me in the chat, but I think we all came to the conclusion that, like, if you were to look at LLMs and Gen AI, Google's like in 5th place, right? Is anybody excited about Gemini? How many times have you heard people talk about Gemini? We're usually talking about OpenAI, Anthropic, Llama, right? You had all this brain power and you're in 5th place? That's a people problem. That's an ivory tower problem, right? What good is having all these Nobel Prize winners if you're in 5th place? I have other thoughts about how that happens too, because I saw a little bit of this at IBM. But how many Nobel Prize winners does OpenAI have? Now, don't get me wrong. I think eventually they will have some, right? I mean, I don't know if it's going to be Sam Altman, but eventually OpenAI, somebody at significant at OpenAI will win the Nobel Prize. That's 100% guaranteed, right? But you had all that brain power and you're in 5th place in Gen AI? It's embarrassing. What do you guys think about that? How many Nobel Prize winners does Anthropic have? Anthropic basically came out of nowhere and ate Google's lunch. So did OpenAI. I mean, OpenAI didn't come out of nowhere, right? But who was Anthropic 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Right? So that's the part that kind of gets me too, because I saw, I'll admit I kind of added to that commentary because to me it's like embarrassing. Like, why would you advertise that? But you had all that brain power and you're 5th place in Gen AI? I don't know. I don't know if I'm too proud of that. Let me know what you guys think. I get it, I'm sharing fighting words. I get it. But, what do you guys think? Let's see. Let me see who's next here. Fatima. Fatima says, yes, this system's followed by most universities and schools. There are instances where some students don't study at all throughout the week, but it's generally understood that Sunday is designated day off. Okay. Well, I mean, Fatima, if that fits you, then that fits you. Yeah, I don't know about 6 days a week. Ouch. Good for you though. Good for you for being a student. Mr. Hadi, welcome. Mr. Hadi from Sri Lanka. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. Is it your first time here? I think it might be. If so, welcome. Anything I can do for you? Any questions you have, let me know. Okay. Leo says, do you think it could be biased to awards actually in the AI related field? Yeah, absolutely. Because somebody can correct me in the chats, because I'm not an expert on these things, but I think the prize itself is in science, right? The Nobel Prize in science. I don't think it's specific to computation, and it's certainly not specific to AI or, machine learning or data science, right? I think the general umbrella is just the Nobel Prize in science, right? So yeah, think about being on that committee, right? They could pick from any number of things, right? Like I know there's a chemistry one and a physics one, right? But you could pick from a million things. So yeah, absolutely. I think there's a bias there in that they're picking a very contemporary science, right? It's hip. It's edgy for them to pick somebody from the AI data science world. So yeah, there's definitely some bias there, right? But that's not a bad thing, right? And also, well, two things. One, we're all in the industry, so we should be happy we're getting recognized in that way. And two, one of the things I've been telling my corporate clients since 2016 as I told them, I've said, whoever solves natural language generation is gonna win the Nobel Prize. Because guys, I don't think that OpenAI gets enough credit for that. Like what they've done, forget the the RAG and all that, right? But what they've done for natural language generation is amazing, right? Like just the natural language generation alone. Like, I don't know how long many of you have been working in the field, but I mean, what, OpenAI has been around for like a year and a half. So let's just call it like 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago, natural language generation was terrible. Just awful. Right? Like you could not get very far with NLG. What they've done for NLG is amazing. Like, people do not give them nearly the credit they deserve for that. Right? So I say that because, no disrespect to the other sciences out there, but there's been a lot of really cool developments in the past couple years. So yeah, maybe they should have more winners that are from the data science field, right? Maybe you could say that, over the next 10 years, there will be, at least half of those winners will be from like the data science field. I think that's a pretty good bet. Right? I mean, I'd be willing to put money on that. That the next 10 Nobel Prize winners in this category will come from the data science world. You could talk me into that bet, right? Because there's been a lot of really cool things happening. Like, I mark my words on this, guys. When OpenAI wins a Nobel Prize, because they will win it, it will be tied to the natural language generation portion of it. I mean, yes, they might get something for the RAG side, but like what they've done for natural language generation, highly underrated. Not enough people are paying attention to that. So Mr. Hattie writes, can you please share some free data science projects to work on and present it in an interview as you mentioned in the post? Yeah, sure. Mr. Hattie, I have a whole playlist on this. I have a video on how to write an article, and I have a video on how to go about finding projects. And if you want, you can attend on Sundays. Sundays, I'm running tutorials where we talk about an entire project from beginning to end. This Sunday is session number 2. So you're welcome to join that. But everything you mentioned, you can find on my YouTube, Data Science with Dennis. If you look in the archives, I guarantee you'll find it, okay? Leo says, that's true. I think it is a strategy to validate them as more reliable. I feel there is a backstage movement to remove Sam Altman and slow down OpenAI. Leo, I don't think that's a hidden movement. I think that's very active, and Sam Altman has said that they're intentionally doing that. Right? I think it was like last weekend or maybe 2 weekends ago. He wrote about that. He wrote about how some of the algorithms that they're looking at for future releases are scarily good. And he's talked about how maybe they're going to slow down releases. Right? So he himself has talked about that. I'll try to track down that I believe it was in an interview or maybe a podcast that he did. But obviously they're working ahead on releases, and he has said himself that some of them are scarily good, that they have actually stopped to consider and say, hey, this might be too good. So I agree with you that they're trying to slow down, but I don't think that's hidden at all. I think they know it, right? Rahul says, Dennis, yep. Sorry, Rahul, I don't know. which one you're referring to. The chat's kind of going fast today. But yeah, Rahul, if there's something else I can help you with, let me know. I'm sorry I didn't catch on to what you were replying to there. Yes, but we got 2 awards related to AI, the chemistry and the science one. Okay, thank you for that, Leo. Yeah, like I said, I'm not claiming to be an expert on the categories they have. But I know that in that category, they could be choosing from a ton of different different fields, right? They could be giving it to an astronomy person or somebody like that, right? But yeah, I mean, it is pretty cool that they're choosing to go with data science AI for that. But again, that's probably part marketing and stuff like that. Yassine says, I agree with you that Gemini is very late to the race of LLM and Gen AI, but in defense of Google, it has some other projects where it excels. Other companies, I think, are specialized to that field. Maybe, Yassine. I'm like 90% on board with what you're saying. Like, I get what you're saying, right? Like, Anthropic only does Gen AI, so, that is an inherent advantage. I get that. But here's 2 thoughts come to mind, though, Yassine. One, what are some of those other projects where Google excels? I know. You guys are thinking, well, I really like Gmail. I really like Google Drive. Whatever, pick your product. But if we're being honest with each other, the answer is they excel at AdWords and AdSense, right? They excel as an advertising company. That's what's keeping the lights on at Google. I mean, yes, they kind of sort of have a cloud service you pay for, and some non-zero population out there pays for Google Drive, and YouTube Premium generates some revenue. But they're an advertising company. That's what they are, right? That's what they do. So, yeah, okay, if they specialize in that, okay, that's great, but that means you've taken your eye off the ball, right? You're not an innovative company anymore, right? And that's why you got your lunch money stolen by OpenAI, because you fell asleep at the wheel. Right? Trust me, it ain't YouTube Premium that's keeping Google employees with free lunch and employed, right? And that's not what's paying the bills at Google. So, yeah, I agree with you. They have other projects where they excel, but they're not innovative. They're not cutting edge. They're not Gen AI. I mean, even with Gemini, they're only doing like a middling job. I mean, one of the things I always laugh at, guys, and I want you guys to keep an eye on this because I see this. I've been seeing this for the last 3 months, maybe longer, since Google's last like big, release event or whatever, those big events that they broadcast. Google is doing the world's dumbest thing. If you look at any time they talk about Gemini, with their executives or the promotions or whatever, they always talk about context. Oh, we're going to support, at the release, we're going to support, what was it? 2 terabytes of context. Oh, we have the biggest context out there. We're going to increase the Who cares? Who cares? Competing on context is like expecting to win a Olympic gold medal in swimming because you have the best hair. Like, who cares about context? Do you know how much 2 terabytes of context is? It's like multiple encyclopedias. No, the average person is not going to care about that. The average company is not going to care about that. So to me, Gemini, it's a trash product that they're propping up with smoke and mirrors. Probably because they're getting some questions from their stakeholders. Why doesn't Google have a Gen AI product? Right? Google kind of has to put something out there, right? Like they're kind of forced to. Doesn't make it any good, right? So think about that. And somebody else tell me, what do you think Google excels at? Because I think it's advertising. Google is an excellent advertising technology company. But that doesn't make you a Gen AI company. It doesn't make you innovative, right? Second thing, and here's where I'm relating it back to AI, to IBM. So one of the things I noticed at IBM, and I'm positive also happens at Google, is that you end up hiring all these PhDs, all these academics, and it sounds great. Hey, we got these great stable of people who wrote these amazing papers, blah, blah, blah. But they're academics. They're not practitioners. They've never had their hands at the keyboard, right? They've always been academics. So in these big companies, they end up in these like think tanks, like these internal think tanks or these labs that these companies create. IBM is infamous for this, right? IBM has labs all over the world filled with these smart PhDs, right? Smart people who've never written a line of code in their lives, right? So you end up building all this brain power and all this stuff, and they end up writing these long, ridiculous papers about what the future is going to be like, right? Because here's the thing about PhDs. Every one of these PhDs thinks they're some sort of futurist that can see the world and where we're going. And, oh yeah, I can't prove it today, but I'll prove it to you in 75 years, right? That's what happens at these big companies, right? Like they go out and like rush out for these PhDs without really knowing like what to do with them or really thinking if they should be doing that, right? Because you're hiring a PhD, not a practitioner. So now you have this whole lab full of PhDs that are telling you what to do in 75 years. Is that good? Is that bad? IBM's been doing this for 40 years? Like since the 80s? Do you consider IBM to be a cutting edge, innovative company? Maybe, maybe not. But that's what happens, right? You end up with these labs full of people, expensive people, by the way, who aren't practitioners. They all think they're futurists. They all think in theoretics. They don't think in things that you can do today. Right? So I saw that a lot at IBM. The worst conference I ever went to. Oh my gosh, guys. I was working for this consulting firm, a terrible consulting firm. But we were an IBM, super duper deluxe partner, which means that we basically all worked under the umbrella for IBM, blah, blah, blah. So we went to this internal team conference. It was in Chicago in the middle of winter. It was a ridiculous event. And the opening keynote for the conference was one of these lab people from IBM, one of these PhDs. And he gave the world's most boring talk. I got 0 out of it. Because, we were an audience of consultants, right? So we're people out there in the field, right? Like I'm the boots on the ground, and I've got this theoretical guy who can't write code to save his life talking about what's going to happen in the next 80 years. Like, that's just not beneficial to billing clients today, building solutions today, right? So that's why I'm saying this, because I've seen this happen. And it 100% happens at Google. Google has these same labs, right? So keep that in mind, guys, that these companies become these big bloated entities who feel smart, but execution-wise, they're very weak. So I think that's part. I think that plays into our discussion right now, right? You had all these PhDs who are, yeah, okay, that's great, but they're not talking to you about how you can do something today. OpenAI is doing something today. Anthropic is doing something today. That's what I think. Anyways, give me some feedback there if you think differently. Harris says your face expression of being surprised is very funny. Hey, this is Daddy's money maker over here. My expressions is why I do this. Okay, don't be talking about my money maker. Dennis, I do believe OpenAI has come a long way, but it still lacks in a lot of things in NLP. What? Okay, Rahul, give me an example. If you play a jumble word in ChatGPT, it still lacks in assembling words. Okay. Rahul, I'm trying to decide if what you're talking about is more of an edge case or something that happens frequently. Like, how would that affect other use cases or business use cases? Because Rahul, you know, you've been a great supporter of our Sunday chats, right? Our Sunday tutorials. So if you remember, when we relied on ChatGPT to get us through the book, it only made mistakes on 2 instances, right? And if you remember, the second instance was related to the Julia install. So arguably that wasn't ChatGPT's mistake, it was more of like a complexity in Julia, right? So you could argue that only one time out of 8 sessions, it made a mistake. Now, again, as I've said on those chats, if I'm a development manager, a hiring manager, a project manager, I'm still winning, right? Because I got the code that would take somebody 10 days, I got it in 10 minutes, even though if it was wrong, right? Net, I'm still ahead. So I hear you, Rahul, it's not perfect, but does it get me ahead? That's really the question, right? So let me know what you think about that, Rahul. It's not about perfection, it's about time savings, right? Leo says OpenAI started as a combined effort from big companies to make AI real and share. It was open source till GPT-3. Sam Altman decided to change things. That's where I think the problem is. Rahul says, I believe it's too good to be true to be open source. Sam Altman just gave us a little tease. Okay, but Leo, and that's where I think the problem is. Leo, I'm trying to determine what is how are you defining the problem? Like, you're talking about the background approach to slowing down Sam Altman? That's where you think the problem started? Sorry, Leo, help me clarify that. What is the problem again? When I said backstage, I mean deep in the back, like a big conspiracy theory. Yeah. I was talking about AI being placed in the science. Okay, yeah, for the Nobel Prize. Thank you, Rahul. I understand now. Halfel, he's a master. He knows your algorithm too. Maybe. The only time I choose Gemini is to scrap data in real time from whatever info I'm trying to get. Yeah. I hear you on that. All right, so Fatima shares, you're right, Gemini is definitely late to the race, and it's surprising given Google's resources, but I think it's more about how quickly companies like OpenAI adapted and innovated. Yeah, but because Google's a big bloated company, right? You can't be fast and innovative with PhDs that have never worked a day in their lives, right? I mean, that's kind of like the correlated point, Fatima, right? Those PhDs in those labs slow you down more than they help you. So that's really kind of where I'm coming from, right? Leo says Google is not great because we're not there. I'd never work for Google. No way. Miss me with that. No way. Harris says, how ChatGPT is better than Gemini? Can you please elaborate? Have you used Gemini? Gemini is like minor leagues, right? Harris, I challenge you to go out, spend 6 hours working in ChatGPT, and then spend 6 hours working in Gemini, and the world will be revealed to you. MDTA, we ask people to introduce themselves. Let us know, okay? Rex is crying in his notebook. Now, Rex, I will admit I have to spend more time with that tool. I have seen a couple of postings about that. So I will say I have not used Notebook LM yet, right? I will disclose that. So yeah, maybe I should do that, right? Yeah, Rahul, thank you for providing that summary. Yeah, Harris, you can start there with Rahul's summary. I completely agree, right? Like Gemini to me, like pointing out its differences to ChatGPT, like where do you start? Like it's a list, right? It's a long list. But yeah, Rahul's providing a decent summary here. But you know, Harris, to your point, and I'm not trying to pick on you, but you know, one of the things I always tell people is just try it. Just try it. Just sit down with ChatGPT and just let your mind go on what you're asking it. It is to me, it's impossible to not be impressed by it, right? In terms of like the breadth and the depth and the text generation, right? And then go do the same in Gemini, and you're gonna see a degradation. But just try it. Just try it. Yassine says, one that I'm aware of is the AlphaFold project, which has made some advancements in the biology field. Yeah, you're right. The protein folding, right? Yeah, I think that's the other one that won the Nobel Prize. Yeah, thanks for that reminder there, Yassine. Yassine says, haha, it's the PhD's turn today. Yassine, I you know, sometimes I get so much love from the chat. And then other times I just feel so attacked by you guys. Because if my content does anything, is my content, I love everyone and I love everything and I treat everyone fairly and I don't hate on anyone. My chat is a no hate zone. And that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to spread the love to everyone and everything out there. And then you guys tell me that I'm picking on PhDs or that I pick on PyTorch or all these other things. There's nothing but love here, guys. I love everyone and everything. All of us, everyone and everything on the planet is a special little snowflake. We're all special little delicate snowflakes just blowing in the wind. And I love everyone and everything. This is a no hate zone where everyone is loved. There's no hate. It's just nothing but love for everything and everyone. So I do not appreciate people telling me that I hate on things. Thank you for your understanding. Oh man, you guys are great. You guys are great. I love this chat. So Harris replying to, I mostly use OpenAI, but my mindset is that both are the same. But now after your answer, I will try. Oh yeah, Harris. Yeah, I mean, Harris, spend some time with Gemini. If you don't see a degradation in the quality, come back and tell us. But I'd be surprised if that wasn't the case, right? Because I mean, look, they're already telling you they're competing on context, which is a fight that is stupid, right? Like I said, that's like trying to win a gold medal in swimming because you have great hair. Like, it's dumb, right? So you'll see. You'll see. I might suck at data science, but I'm a practitioner. Hey, that's good. Practitioners being a good thing. I'm trying to set GPT J6B on my Linux machine to see if with some agents I can identify and contain malwares by their behavior, not signatures. Oh, that's interesting. Well, but isn't that like too late though? Because you're saying that the malwares would have to be like active on your machine, right? Like you identify them by signatures so that you can prevent the download, prevent the install, and all that, right? So let me know about that, Leo. Like that's dangerous, right? Or maybe you're talking about identifying like very, very, very early malwares, right? Like malwares that don't have a name or a signature yet, right? You could use it for that. But let me know, Leo. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. Rahul says, well, we did have an issue related to versions of Python for TensorFlow and Matplotlib. Okay, you're right. There were two issues. You're right. You're right. Well, hold on a second. No, you're right. You're right. We had one issue early on when we were doing regression. And then you're right, Rahul. This was the second issue that we had, where it should have told us to do a better install of Python. And you're right. The humans did win that day. You're right about that. But then that was it, right? Because the Julia stuff was more about the Julia, like Python layering and dependencies and all that stuff. But look, again, Rahul, though, we did it in like a few minutes. If you assume that OpenAI didn't exist, that's the type of problem the developers end up spending their entire afternoon on, right? So you're still winning, right? The time win is still there. But you're right, Rahul. We actually had two problems that GPT caused, and then the third one was more of a Julia problem. But you're right, it was two. Not yet, but I think both are the same. No, you can't say that, Harris. You can't say that if you don't have experience in Gemini. You can't say, I haven't tried Gemini, but it's the same as ChatGPT. That's not the scientific mindset, my friend. You got to have evidence, right? So go out, spend the hours with Gemini, and then report back. But you really can't say that. That's not good science, my friend. Yes, I said why big companies are starting to hate OpenAI because first they're supposed to have access due to combined effort. Once Altman decided to profit, they stayed outside. Elon. Okay, I hear you, Leo. Yeah, thank you. I try to not pay attention to those politics that are around that because you're right. I know that, Elon had a fallout with them or vice versa or whatever. But yeah, you're right. You're right. There's a lot of background there. Yassine says, "Oh no, what did I do?" Oh, it's all joking around, Yassine. I love when you participate. Really appreciate your support, my friend. What? No hate zone except for PyTorch? No, Leo. Everyone is a special, unique snowflake. even the PyTorch users. It's impossible to spend time with Gemini. It's way too bad. Yeah, I agree, Leo. I can't wait for Harris to report back and say, "Oh my God, what was I doing?" Okay, looks like Fatima enjoyed my my re-expression of my complete and total love for the world. You know, I don't know if you guys know the movie Fight Club. I don't know if that's a popular movie overseas. But you know, there's that great scene where the Brad Pitt character starts to gather up his little army, right? His Project Mayhem, you know, and they're in the garden, right? And they're all working in the garden, and Brad Pitt's on the microphone on the megaphone, right? And he's sitting there. You are not special. You are not a beautiful and unique snowflake. You have to remember that God probably hates you, right? Like, I love that scene, right? So I'm trying to do the opposite of that. Everybody is a beautiful and unique snowflake, even PyTorch users. Yassine says, witnessed almost everything and I can still believe that's... Well, I mean, Leo called me a drama king. I gotta live up to that reputation, right? Rahul says, is he trying for advertising? Maybe. Harris asks, is it important to learn Linux OS to crack a job related to data science, or is Windows enough? I think Linux is important. I think Linux is important, right? Most large computing environments that you're going to come across in big companies are going to be Linux based. So yeah, Harris, if you think, hey, maybe I should learn some Linux, yeah. Hey, okay, guys, beautiful idea. Harris, my friend, you have a project on your hands. Harris, we are assigning you a project. You're going to go out and you're going to spend 6 hours learning Linux only from Gemini. I want you to use Gemini as your personal Linux tutor. Minimum of 6 hours. Come back and report to us in a couple days. Let us know how it went for you. Okay? Harris, you're able to combine two different things at one time. So I'm excited for you. That's your personal project that the chat is assigning you. So come back in a couple days. I want a full report from you, but have Gemini be your Linux tutor. Okay? I mean, you know what? Heck, you know what, Harris? If you like recorded some of that, you could like that's a good YouTube video. Like, wouldn't you guys watch that video? Like, if there was a YouTube video out there titled Gemini was my Linux tutor for 6 hours, Gemini tutors Linux newbie for 6 hours, I'd watch that video. I'd probably laugh through most of it, but I'd watch that video. But yeah, man, you should do that. Go use Gemini as your Linux tutor. Leo says, yes, you got it. If they're in, agents can isolate and eliminate, but the key is to prevent before they're in. Yeah, so how would you do that though, Leo, right? If you're going to do it on behavior, then that means that they're already running through your system, right? As an end user, I don't know how comfortable I am with that. Leo says, don't torture the kid, ask him to spend a whole hour with Gemini. Well, here's the thing, Leo. In my defense, I'm asking him to do 6 hours. I think he'll quit after 1 hour. Right? So I think we're both right on this. I say 6, you know, because we want it to be a solid scientific test, right? 20 minutes is not a scientific test. So I'm saying do it for 6 hours, but I think he'll quit after 1 hour. Sir, we'll do it at the weekend. No, no, it's not a good. No, I'm assuming you mean no, it's not a good project. Don't do it. We like you. So in other words, we think it's going to kill Harris. Harris is going to spend time with Gemini, and he's going to say, "Screw these guys. They gave me a bad project. I don't want to deal with this." That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, Harris, if we don't hear from you again, we'll assume we'll assume Gemini killed you. Oh, that's hilarious. Rahul says, "How dare you mention PyTorch?" No, Rahul. Rahul, this is a love zone. Nothing but love in this chat, okay? Nothing but love. We have to watch out for our fellow data scientists who have strayed off the wrong path. They just don't know any better, you know? The childhood traumas, we can't hold that against them. We can't hold their childhood traumas against them. Everybody's special and unique. Okay. Leo says, "Yeah, we can see that." Yeah, I'd watch that YouTube video, Harris. Harris, you should make a YouTube video out of it. You'll get 1 million views. Right? I'd watch a video if somebody posted that. Gemini was my tutor to Linux newbie for 6 hours. I'm even giving you a title. I get 5% of your revenues. All right, guys. Great chat today. Great chat. You know what? Today's chats are my favorites because I never know what you guys are going to bring. I love the participation. Thanks so much for all the feedback. I think everybody in the chat participated today. We had lots of feedback. So thanks so much, everybody. Really appreciate you. Again, so much craziness in the world today. So please stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves and take care of your families. Protect your families. And I'll see you guys next time.